Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to do an acrylic paint technique that involves 4 forks and some acrylic paint pouring. Let's go ahead and do it. Alrighty, so for my materials here, I've got a canvas that has nothing on it yet. I've got 4 forks. I suggest for you to use some metal forks, cup of water, paper towel underneath just in case, something to prop my forks up with. I just have these to-go ramekin containers. I've got 6 cups here. You can use jars or whatever. I just so happen to be able to repurpose these cups. And then I've got quite a bit of acrylic paint. And I chose a wide range here just so you can see you can pretty much use any acrylic paints out there. I've got the Folk Art Acrylic Craft Essentials. I also have my Liquitex Titanium White, Blick Phthalo Blue, Liquitex Magenta, some Scotch Painter's Tape here, just the blue Scotch Painter's Tape, and we're ready to go. Alrighty, so first thing I want to do is tape off my canvas with my Scotch Painter's Tape. I'm just going to go ahead and I want to make sure that the thickness of my tape is thicker than the canvas so it will hold all that paint. So I'm just going on the edge of the canvas here. Ready. So I can see that there's a little bit of edge of the tape is still showing, and I have put the tape around the entire outer edges of my canvas. So that is prepped, ready to go. Next, I'm going to set my forks up the way I would like them to be. So I'll place one here, and these are not really at a very specific angle. I think I'm gonna do, this is like about a 45. They might slip, but once you get all 4 of them in there, should be set. All right, so I've got my fork set up and I've got a little square in the very center. Now I'm going to prep my paints. I want them all to be separated into different containers. I was able to repurpose these cups like I said, so you can use whatever you'd like to be mixing your paints, but I just kind of want to show you the consistency that I'm looking for with the paint. So I'll just start with my Folk Art paint that I've got here. It's already quite watered down, which is nice, but I'm just gonna pour quite a bit in there. My goal here is when I slosh this around, my paint around, that I get a little bit of movement. It looks like it's pretty stagnant, as you can see, hopefully. So I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of water, just like a couple drops. I'll mix it up. You can also, you don't have to use a paintbrush to mix these. You can just use like a stirring stick or whatever. So that's looking a little better. I might add a tad more water because I want it to be quite fluid, but not the consistency of transparent like watercolor or something. So that's starting to look really good. All right, that looks pretty good to me. 1 color down, 5 to go. I'll do the same with the .50 blend for this one. And see, that would be like way too watery. So I'm gonna pour out a little water. There's some clumping in there because it's quite old tube of paint. Alrighty, so now I have all of my paint mixed. I'm gonna take my empty cup and I'm gonna start pouring into this cup all my different mixed colors. You can do this really in any kind of order that you'd like. I'm just gonna kind of go pretty random. I'm tilting my cup a little bit, so I've got a little bit of blue in there. And I'm pretty slowly pouring these. Little magenta. Little bit of orange. Okay, so let's hope this works. I'm just going to very slowly pour into the very center of the forks. And just continue pouring in the center. Even the cup looks cool. Alrighty, so now that I have poured all of my paint in there, what I'm gonna do is very slowly begin to lift off the forks. So I'll start with this one. That clumpy paint did not work as well as the others. So now you can really see how you got this fork effect here on the left side. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it up and start slightly tilting my canvas. You can also place just a single fork to kind of get that same effect. Almost looks like marbling. And there you have it. I've created this marbling effect. I'll show some light, how you can see how glossy it is. It's gonna probably take about 24 hours for it to dry, but I got some really interesting effects happening here. And yeah, get experimental. I wanted to also very briefly just show you a finished piece, what happens once it's dry. So I let this dry for about 24 hours. Now I'm just gonna peel off the Scotch tape.